Greetings, my garden lovers. Today we are going to discuss the steps to rapidly compost whatever leavings you have in your garden. That can be grass trimming, that can be branches, that can be organic food remnants from the picnic that you've had. And although this is a popular topic, I actually take a slightly different approach to the concept of composting in general. Foremost, I take an all-natural approach. So before we go deeper into this topic of how to compost, I want to rule out a few factors that you will come across time and again here on YouTube, and that's specifically with regards to using accelerants. So chemical agents that are supposed to assist in the process of the composting. I believe that Mother Nature, throughout all of time and throughout all of Earth, has devised a brilliant mechanism to reduce waste and reuse waste. You don't need to look much further than your standard forest preserve to see exactly how it works. Leaves fall on the ground, they decompose through a variety of measures, including mushrooms, rainwater, oxygen, so on and so forth. And this is really the effect that we're looking to mimic. So if someone is insisting that you need to buy a chemical agent to put in your compost, I would counter that suggestion by asking, what is it that they have to gain? Your money, simply. And by putting chemical agents into your compost, you corrupt it in a sense, making it potentially less desirable to include in your garden for food that you're going to eat in the coming years. So if you do decide to use an accelerant, do some research and read in depth what it involves, what it curtails, and what will be in your soil there and after. Moving forward, the steps. First of all, you have to find a location for your compost pile. I would recommend doing something that's accessible to you, so easy to reach, yet far enough out of the way that it won't be an eyesore or a disturbance. Anything that would discourage the use of compost is a negative that we need to avoid because, again, compost is Mother Nature's way of ensuring the fruitfulness of the future of the earth. So you want to feel encouraged, and therefore I would suggest that perhaps behind a building, couple of meters away, so that if there were to be a stench, which there really shouldn't be much of a stench, you wouldn't really be aware of it one way or another. So find the right location, and then you're going to want to set a compound, a perimeter. And although this is not really necessary for the decomposing process to begin, it will help you facilitate and accelerate the decomposition of the material by confining what you've designated as soil to one small area. You're going to need to rototill what is within there, and so if you just kind of have one major heap, it can be spread out to a point that it will become quite difficult for you to manage. So how do you barricade this? A lot of people use pallets, and I think that's a brilliant measure. For one, the pallets allow oxygen to penetrate the more central and lower parts of the heap while keeping everything confined. Pallets are very cheap, they're very accessible. Now, I've opted to use bricks because I have more of an urban garden situation here. I only have grass trimming once a year when I cut down my famous privacy wall. We have to put that into the compost pile, so it can get a little bit overrun. But the aesthetics of bricks was appealing to me. I also had bricks as an available material, so it didn't require any investment. Set them up, filled them in, we're ready to go. Some people like to give a little bit of depth to their compost pile, and although that's not really 100% advisable, it will help you create more volume if you have a limited realm of space, as is the case with my garden. So I did add a couple of feet depth to it so that I can get branches, things that will take much longer, to the bottom of the pile. Then I rotate the top of the pile for the fast accelerant of the material, without chemicals, that is to say. So you've designated a location for the pile, you've got the materials, you've set it up. How do you begin? It's simple. Place all decomposables that will not contaminate the surroundings into the pile. Mix with layers of dirt gradually. You don't need to overdo the dirt in the soil, but this helps to speed up the decomposition of the material. You can put a huge variety of items within the pile. You can even look for store-bought packaging, maybe for your child's lunch that they take to school that you would put inside the compost pit later. You would be amazed how much you could put in there. What are some things that you'd like to avoid at this phase? Most people do not put meat inside of their compost pile because meat becomes rancid. Meat attracts predators, also, disease-spreading animals such as rats and mice, a variety of birds. So assuming you don't want any of that going on in your pretty little garden, I would strongly recommend that you don't put meat inside of the compost pile, although some people do elect to avoid this advice, and they come to regret it much later when they're overrun with, ravenous raccoons in their yard. So keep meat out. Decomposable material, feces might come to mind. And some people put the leavings of animals that don't eat meat. Meat-eating animals can have diseases such as trichinosis. I made a whole video about cats, by the way, and how to keep them out of your garden in general. Check that video out. It's a little bit controversial, but if you don't want disease inside of your garden, putting cat droppings inside of your compost would be a no-no for sure. Human waste, you don't want to get E. coli and different nasty things that come from human beings. So I would keep feces out of the pile just as a kind of standard rule. It's a little bit nasty. Other than that, you have to turn your compost. I like to do it once every couple of weeks. Some people do that more rapidly. In addition to turning the compost heap, you should water it, and I collect rainwater from around my garden, so this also helps with the natural, reuse, recycle philosophy. So we're really getting to the core of what it means to have a garden and to be sustainable and complement what nature has already provided. So turn it, water it, fill it, and when your compost heap has turned into dirt, it will be dirt of a fantastic value for your ongoing gardening endeavors. You can use this to re-soil some of your bushes, plant new bushes. If you're building a privacy wall, also made a video about that, you should check out, and give you the satisfaction that you're just partaking in a natural, brilliant method that Mother Nature has provided us in reusing and recycling content. But I want to add one final disclaimer to composting, and a major part of the reason why I enjoy doing it. It is actually a form of exercise. There's something about getting a shovel and moving earth that will really wear you out, keep you in good form. For the men out there in their middle ages, testosterone is dropping. They say that chopping wood, digging, those are good ways to keep testosterone up. So although composting might not be the most masculine idea that comes to mind, it indeed is good for our physical, psychological health, as well as the maintenance of a clean earth. So thank you for watching. Enjoy composting. Good luck to you. Subscribe to Great Gardening, and hope to see you again soon.